welcome back to another video with Chat with Them and Jay. We are so sorry we have been out for a month, almost more than that, because we moved to Florida. If you didn't watch our other video, go watch it because it was fun and we had a lot of fun making it.
Yeah.
But we are now in central
southern Florida, kind of in the middle.
on the Atlantic side.
Yes.
So it's hot here, but we are really excited to be here. We've gotten really plugged in, but we wanted to kind of chat with you guys about why we moved and like what happened and like all those moving stories. So
Yep.
Jared, why don't you kick it off? So why did our family decide to move to Florida?
Oh, so I don't know if you guys have been following our channel for a while, but you probably know that I went through surgery and everything like that. So after I started recovering from that, we've been actually been talking about it for a long time about moving to Florida, or different places. We're thinking about like Georgia and other places like that.
Texas.
Yeah. And then we just decided, hey, how about Florida? We've all wanted, at least I wanted to move to Florida for a very long time. So, we decided to put the house up for sale and see what God wants to do. If the house sold, and it did, we'd be moving to Florida. So, yeah, it happened. So, God's will obviously was us to come here. So.
And I think too, like a big step of it was like everybody's asked, well, how you're adjusting, would you like it? It's like been a really big question. And I think that for a lot of us, like not everybody felt like, I'll just speak for myself. I didn't feel at peace about moving to Florida necessarily, but felt like God was leading our family here. And so just really, I was telling someone, to follow God's voice for someone else is hard. But you know that God's on it because God just like allowed everything to work out. We were able to sell our house full price really fast before we even hit the market. We found a really great church here to get plugged into. We're really excited about that.
Yeah.
And just like a lot of things that we really wanted in our lives kind of worked out and kind of lined up for us. And so I got to keep my job, which was amazing, and all that stuff. So God really worked things out for us, and we are really blessed. We live in a beautiful house, and yeah.
Yeah.
What has been one of the challenging things, not about living in Florida, because people from Florida are watching, but
yes, so some of you are probably watching this right now. So. Hi.
What has been like? What was one of like the most challenging things about moving to Florida? Like the move.
I think packing was probably like one of the hardest things. It seemed like with a lot of people. I found the trip to be a little bit more difficult personally. I didn't find packing and getting here that hard. Sorry, not getting here. Packing and then unloading because we had people to help obviously, so that was really nice. Definitely have help if you're moving. It's like a lifesaver, but a backsaver too. But anyways, when we were traveling, I found that to be more difficult because just how many hours we were on the road driving. I don't mind being inside a car for that long, but after a while it does start to. I didn't want to get in the car after for a little while. I didn't want to get back in the vehicle, but. We ended up just lugging all our stuff, having movers move some of the stuff, and then we ended up taking a U-Haul too. And I was in the U-Haul, so it was pretty fun just driving across the country, but I would say it definitely took a toll out of my back and just aches and pains and just tired, just tired of being on the road. But it was really fun. It was really cool to see all across the country and different states I've never been to before. I mean, I lived my whole life on pretty much the west side of the United States, and so it was totally different. I would say it was a lot of fun though, so it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I would say packing for sure. I think recently it hit me. I was telling my mom, about just missing people and some really good people in Colorado, and it's hard to even now that I have time to process, because when you're moving, you're just packing everything up and you're like, get it in the truck, make sure it gets in the truck.
Yeah.
And so you don't process things, at least I don't tend to until a little while after, and so oh man, there's some really good people that I already miss that are from Colorado.
Yeah, it's like the whole thing of uprooting kind of, but not really, because I still have a lot of friends and people there and I keep in touch with, but I feel like it's definitely hard to like kind of channel into a different state and different people, and just trying to meet people is like kind of not easy all the time, and get involved in different things. I feel like we're starting to get involved and meet people, but it's definitely something you have to be very intentional about, and so it's been fun. It's been kind of, I don't know. It's a weird time period, kind of another waiting period in a way, if you will. But you know, God's here. God's moving, obviously. I feel like I've definitely gotten. I didn't really feel like what Melanie was saying, like too much peace about it. I did feel like I wanted to move to Florida, and I didn't really feel. You know, I started to feel like God's hand was on it. But when we got here, I kind of been more confirmed that this was the Lord. So I definitely feel like I got more at peace being here. So yeah.
Yeah, but definitely not at first. And I think that that's the one thing, like, you know, letting God speak through someone else and then following it. Like, for a long part of my life, I was like, God, whatever you ask of me, my answer is yes, you know, before you even ask. And I think that when you actually have to, I keep telling my brother, like, it's a whole other story when you actually have to step out in faith and actually, like, take that initiative on. Like, okay, God, I'm not going to ask you questions. I'm just going to say yes. And I think that there's a level of when you actually have to do that, like, and say, yes, God, I don't understand. Like, we've never been to this area of Florida. We've
been to Florida before, like more like in the Keys, you know, for vacation. It wasn't anything like, you know, this. So.
Yeah, and like just getting over his surgery and like the timing fell off, and everybody's always like, oh, well, timing's not great. And it's like, well, if God's moving, it is the right time, right? And so I think for us,
you just got to be on the seat of your pants practically. But even with Moses, you know, like you had to do a lot of stuff, and like, you know, God's, you know, even the crazy moments in your life. I think even for you guys, if you're going through a time like that, like God is with us in those crazy moments. I feel like that's when He's actually with us the most, is when we're crying out and going through all that turmoil. That's why I find it more fun, to be honest. So more exciting.
I think so. I would like to close this video up. For one, we're really happy to be back. We're so sorry we took so much time. It has been crazy here, tearing out walls, painting, all kinds of stuff.
It's been nice. Sorry we haven't gotten videos out too. We've just been really busy, so hopefully you guys bear with us, and you know, yeah.
But I would love to, like, one piece of advice that you would give someone else, like, who's going through maybe a similar situation of wanting to know, like, hey, I'm hearing God on this, but what would you give them to, like, encourage them to say, like, if God's calling you to do it, do it. But, like, obviously, like, what would you kind of give as, like, encouragement to that?
Yeah, for sure. I would just say, I mean, I think a lot of people like to do the fleece analogy, you know, with, I think it was Gideon, where he put out the fleece. But I feel like sometimes, you know, we can keep putting the fleece out, but when God keeps confirming something for you and He wants to do in your life, sometimes you just have to take the leap. And don't be afraid to take the leap. You know, like if you feel like God's on it, go for it. Because a lot of times if you hold back and feel like, oh, I don't know if God's on it, I don't know if He's going to do this, you can miss out on something amazing that God wants to do in your life. So I would say just take the leap. Be willing to take the risk. And, I mean, what's the worst that can happen sometimes? You know, like, He brought you here in your life to this point. So don't be afraid, you know, to jump out. Even if it feels like you could lose everything, sometimes you gain everything, too, out of it. So don't be afraid, I guess.
Yeah, it's great. And we just hope that you guys are encouraged. We are so excited, like I said, to be back. And look forward to more content for you guys. So have a great one, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.
See ya.